So let's talk about the topic of what are core wounds and how to identify them, and really what some different examples of core wounds might be. And what I would love for you to be able to do is during this video, really take a look at some of these different core wounds and see which ones you really think apply to you and how they trigger you, how they affect your life, what the cost is of really carrying these core wounds around, and what some of the benefits might be, or how your life might look different if you were able to really recondition them and then let them go once and for all. So, first and foremost, core wounds are essentially this like baseline level of meaning that we give to situations when we cannot properly emotionally process them. Now, what does that actually mean? Well, you get conditioned. And when you grow up and throughout your upbringing, your mind constantly seeks certainty. It wants certainty as a baseline need for survival. It's like, okay, if I can know what's going on, then I'm more likely to survive. So when you have painful experiences in your upbringing that you can't properly wrap your head around or emotionally process, your mind makes an inference about it in order to get its need met for certainty. In other words, if you grow up in a home with a really critical parent who's constantly criticizing, your mind might give that situation meaning and say, well, I must not be good enough. And that's why this is happening. Now, another thing you need to understand is that as a child, the mind tends to personalize things way more than it would as an adult. So when you can't understand something, you give it meaning, you take it personally, and this meaning then becomes part of your assumption you make about yourself. And at a deeper level, it becomes part of your subconscious identity. Now, we have a whole bunch of different versions of core wounds. We have I will be abandoned, I will be alone, I am unloved, I am unsafe, I am helpless, I am trapped, I am not good enough. I am bad. I am unseen. I am unheard. I don't matter. Like there's so many different variations of this, but it basically comes from us growing up, being exposed to things that feel beyond our control. Our mind makes meaning out of it to try to get its need met for certainty. It says, "Oh, this happened because I don't matter." And then, okay, so I don't matter. I have to remember that. And your mind really hangs on to this over time. Why? Because if you imagine that you go into a forest and you see a bear, and let's say you escape from the bear, but the next day you have to cross back through the forest to get to where you need to be going. Your mind doesn't think, "Oh yeah, yesterday that beautiful tree that I saw right next to the bear." You don't remember the tree next to the bear. You remember the bear's teeth. And so your mind really hangs on to negative things more than positive because it thinks that you have a better chance of protecting yourself from these things. In other words, when we have painful experiences in our upbringing, our mind makes really painful, really intense meaning out of it. And in doing so, it thinks that, hey, I can remember these things and then not expose myself to them. If I think I'm not good enough, I won't stretch myself outside of my comfort zone because I know I'm not good enough and it's not going to work. So it means well, our subconscious mind means well by storing these things, but they usually have a lot of really profound downsides or negative impacts. And so if you look at some of these different ones, you can really hear them with different attachment styles, right? I'm not good enough. I'll be abandoned. I'm unloved. I am unsafe, especially if I don't have connection. Like you hear a lot of these in the anxious, preoccupied attachment style. And in integrated attachment theory, which is our new cutting edge attachment theory, what we have is we've overlapped core wounds with each attachment style, and we can see how they tend to really affect different attachment styles in different ways. We have also for APs, I will be disliked, I will be rejected, I will be excluded. When these things happen, like when an AP has an exclusion core wound active, and think of a core wound as being like a trigger. Like we store these events, and then when they get poked or catalyzed or re-triggered, it's really painful. It's super uncomfortable because we have a lot of stored subconscious history with this emotion or with this wound. So it elicits a lot of that emotion. Um, you can see for fearful avoidance, I will be trapped, I will be helpless, I will be powerless, I am unsafe, I am bad, I am abandoned will be in there too. I could be betrayed, I am or will be betrayed. So you'll see a lot of these different dynamics come up. Dismissive avoidance tend to have this big core wound of fearing being defective or not capable, or also trapped in situations or helpless, right? So you see a lot of how different attachment styles have these. Now, what's really important to recognize is that these core wounds you were not born with. They got conditioned into you, and by the same principles, specifically using repetition and emotion and imagery, because these are the languages and the way that the subconscious mind gets fired and wired to create new outputs or new outcomes. Essentially, what happens is the more we fire and wire new patterns, we actually have these old patterns or beliefs about ourselves atrophy at the neuroplastic level over time. And so we can capitalize on this and we can get rid of these core wounds once and for all. So I want you now to think about the costs. How have these core wounds cost you? Pick one. Pick one that you're like, I know I definitely struggle with that. I really easily feel like I don't matter, or I feel like I can't trust or I'll be betrayed, or I feel unloved or unsafe easily. Try to notice when these core wounds come up for you, what it feels like, and how it affects your life in multiple areas. And then try to think of, and you can even pause the video and you can like write this stuff down. What would the benefits be of letting these things go? And like, what would your life look like instead? And it's a really powerful exercise to tap into. And then, if you want to take this a step deeper and you want to go into the emotional mastery and belief reprogramming course, I say this all the time, but I'll say it again. Like, the courses are 100 times. If you enjoy this channel, come check out a course for free. You can use the link in the description. You can check out any course for 7 days for free. All the courses are 100 times more potent than the YouTube videos because they actually have clear, actionable steps, strategies broken down in detail, workbook exercises. Like, it's just, I can't put all that in a 10-minute video. I can put that in an hour and a half long course. So, if you want to do a deep dive in how to deeply recondition these core wounds and actually shed them once and for all, using reconditioning tools that target the subconscious, which is where these core wounds live, you can check out the emotional mastery and belief reprogramming course, aka core wound reprogramming course, using the link down below for 7 days for free. It's more than enough time to get through the course. And you can actually use the tools absolutely necessary to recondition old patterns, old wounds, things you don't like, and to also identify exactly what core wounds you have and how they're affecting your life. And by using those tools, you'll be able to completely create new patterns and really break through glass ceilings in your relationships, love life, career, relationship to money. It really applies to all these different areas by dropping these core wounds once and for all using those reprogramming techniques. So, check it out if you're interested. I hope this makes a whole lot of sense. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy this content, enjoy this channel. And I put daily content out here, so you can hit the notification bell and you get free daily content as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in future videos.